Lesson 5, Solving Logarithmic Equations. A logarithmic equation is an equation where the variable is in the argument of a logarithmic expression. So in this example here, notice our variable, x, is part of the argument of these logarithmic expressions. When we solve this equation, well, there's actually quite a few strategies for solving logarithmic equations, but I'm just going to show you one of the strategies for this question. And before I actually solve this equation, it would be really helpful if we wrote down the restrictions on these log functions. Remember, a logarithmic expression is only defined when the argument is greater than 0, right? Because if the argument was negative, well, since the base of this log is 10, there's no exponent I can put on 10 to get a negative answer. So that's why the argument has to be positive. So I'm going to jot down on the side here, restrictions. This argument has to be positive, so x plus 5 has to be greater than 0, which means x would have to be bigger than negative 5. And also, I have a logarithmic expression over here, where the argument has a variable. In order for that expression to be defined, the argument there would also have to be positive. So x minus 1 also has to be greater than 0, which means x has to be greater than 1. So when you solve a logarithmic equation, you have to make sure that your answers actually make the equation work. They might not necessarily. They might be something called an extraneous root. And it would be an extraneous root if you get an answer that doesn't satisfy both restrictions. The number has to be both bigger than negative 5 and bigger than 1. So actually, all we have to worry about is this one, because if a number is bigger than 1, it's also bigger than negative 5. If we just thought about this one, well, not all numbers bigger than negative 5 are bigger than 1, but all numbers bigger than 1 are also bigger than negative 5, so let's just think about that one. Our answers have to be bigger than 1. If we get any answers that are not bigger than 1, it would make at least this argument be negative, meaning it would make this whole logarithmic expression be undefined, meaning it couldn't be a solution to the equation. Let me show you graphically what I mean as well. So we're trying to figure out when is log of x plus 5, which only exists for x values bigger than negative 5, when is that equal to 2 log of x minus 1, which of course only exists at x values bigger than 1. So we're wondering, when are these two things equal to each other? Well, of course they could only be equal to each other at x values bigger than 1, because the blue function only exists at x values bigger than 1. So they could only intersect to the right of 1. Now our solving process may generate solutions that are not bigger than 1, which we call extraneous roots. They're not actually going to be solutions. Let me show you what I mean. So this equation, I have log of x plus 5 equals 2 log of x minus 1. One strategy for solving logarithmic equations is to get the equation in the format log equals log, where the bases of the logs are the same and the coefficients of the logs are both 1. If that's the case, we can just set the arguments equal to each other. Let me show you. So I have log of x plus 5 equals, now in order for the coefficients to both be 1, I'm going to have to move that coefficient up into the exponent of the argument. I can do that because of the power rule of logs. So on the right, I would have log of x minus 1 squared. Notice I now have log equals log, where the bases of both of those logs, even though I don't see it, because they're the common logarithm, the bases are both 10, I can just set the arguments equal. The only way this equation could be true is if the arguments were equal. So I have x plus 5 equals x minus 1 squared. Now I just have this quadratic equation to solve. So to solve this quadratic, I'd have to expand the right side. And remember, when you expand a binomial that's being squared, really what we're doing is x minus 1 times another x minus 1, and that would give me x squared minus 2x plus 1. And now to solve this quadratic, I have to set it to 0. So 0 equals x squared minus 3x minus 4. And this quadratic, I think, is factorable. That's nice. The numbers that multiply to negative 4 and add to negative 3 are negative 4 and 1. So this product is 0 if x minus 4 is 0, or if x plus 1 is 0, which means my solutions are x equals 4 and x equals negative 1. But now we have to compare those solutions to what I said the restriction is. I said our answers have to be bigger than 1. And look, negative 1, that's not bigger than 1, so we have to reject this answer. We call this an extraneous root. But this answer, 4, this is bigger than 1, so that answer's good. So when solving logarithmic equations, you actually definitely have to check your answers. Plug them back into the original function. There's a chance it doesn't make it work. 4 makes it work. Let me prove that to you. Well, graphically we can see that, yes, that's where they intersect when x is 4. And of course, -1 doesn't work. They don't intersect at -1 because the blue function doesn't even exist there. But let me show you on the calculator what would happen if we plugged it into the equation and tried to check. If I plug 4 back into the original equation, I'd have log of 4 plus 5 on the left. And on the right, I'd have 2 log of 4 minus 1. Same answer. It makes left side equal right side. But if I plugged -1 in, watch, log of -1 plus 5. And then on the right side, it would be 2 log -1 minus 1. And that says no real answer. So -1 does not make the left side equal the right side. The right side isn't even defined at an x value of -1, so it can't be an answer. That's why we call -1 an extraneous root. So in solving logarithmic equations, it's not just a recommendation, check and see if your answers work. You actually have to, because there is a chance you get an extraneous root. Let's solve some more logarithmic equations. So another strategy for solving a logarithmic equation is to get it in the format log equals number, which this one already is. If we get log equals number, we can then convert it to exponential form. And up here, I'll just remind you of the rule for converting a logarithmic equation into an exponential equation. To convert this into an exponential equation, well, I know this equation tells me that y is the exponent that goes on b to get x, so I would write b to the y equals x. So over here, the base of the log is 10. So to convert this into exponential form, I would write 10 to the power of 1 equals the argument x plus 4. And then we just solve this. X is equal to 6. And then, like I said, remember you have to plug it back into the original equation to make sure it actually works. There's a chance this is an extraneous root. If we plug it back in, I would get log of 6 plus 4, that's log 10, and log 10, yes, is 1. And if you wanted to, we could have wrote the restriction on this. This log function is only defined when x plus 4 is greater than 0. So when x is greater than -4. So our answers have to be bigger than -4, which this is. And I put a method 2 here, but let's not worry about doing another method. I want you to get good at this method that we just did here, converting the logarithmic equation into exponential equation. That's a valuable skill that's going to help a lot when solving logarithmic equations. Let's try another one that's very similar. Notice it's in the format log equals number. When that happens, and your variable is in the argument of the log, convert it to exponential form. So 5 to the power of 2 equals the argument 2x minus 3. And now we just solve this. 25 equals 2x minus 3, and we isolate the x. 28 equals 2x, divide both sides by 2, we get x equals 14. Now, is this an answer or is it an extraneous root? If we plug it back into the original, it should make the left side equal the right side. And if I had have written my restriction up here, I would know that the argument has to be positive, so 2x minus 3 has to be bigger than 0, which means x has to be bigger than 3 over 2, which 14 is, so it should work as long as we did our process correctly, but let me double check. So it's log base 5 of 2 times 14 was our answer, minus 3, and that should be equal to 2, and it is. Good, we found the correct answer. Let's try another one. Well, this is the first time where we might actually have to use some more log rules. Notice I have 2 variable terms, and both of them are log functions. There's an x in the argument of the log here, and an x in the argument of the log here. And there's this other number here, which stops it from being as easy as the very first question we did. It's not just log equals log, so we can't just set the arguments equal right now. What I think the best strategy to do would be is get all of the variable terms on one side. So I've got log of x minus 1 plus log of x plus 2 equals, then I'll put the constant term on the right. And then notice these 2 logarithms that are being added, both are base 10, so we could use the product rule of logarithms that tells us we can now write this as a single logarithm, keeping that base of 10, but multiplying the arguments. And now that it's of the format log equals number, we convert it to exponential form. And remember, the base of this log, even though we don't see it, is 10. So this becomes 10 to the power of 1 equals this argument, which I'll expand. X squared plus 2x minus 1x minus 2. And now this is just a quadratic to solve. So I'll move everything to the right. 0 equals x squared plus x, and that -2 take away 10 is -12. Oh good, this quadratic is factorable. The numbers that multiply to -12 and add to 1 are 4 and negative 3. So my answers are negative 4 and 3. But we have to check these answers. Whenever solving a log equation, you always have to check your answers. Maybe one of these is an extraneous root, or maybe both of them are, or maybe neither of them are. We're going to have to check and make sure it actually makes left side equal right side. And before I do that, let me actually write the restrictions on both of these log functions up here. The restriction on this log function being defined would be that the argument has to be positive, so x would have to be bigger than 1. And the restriction on this one being defined would be that x plus 2 has to be bigger than 0, which means x has to be bigger than negative 2. Well, since we have two restrictions here, we only have to worry about the one that captures all of the values of the other as well. So as long as we have a number that's bigger than 1, we know that that number is also bigger than negative 2. So all of our answers have to be bigger than 1. And, well, negative 4 is not bigger than 1, so that's going to be an extraneous root. But 3 is bigger than 1, that's going to work. You should also take the time to plug them back into the original and make sure that that's the case. If we plugged negative 4 into the left side, well, I can already see that the left side is not even going to be defined because I'd have log of negative 5, which I know is not defined. But let me check 3. Let me make sure 3 actually works. So I'd have log of 3 minus 1, so log 2 minus 1. Let me just type that. I'd have log 2 minus 1. That'd be the left side. Let me make sure the right side equals that as well when x is 3. So I'd have negative log of 3 plus 2. That's negative log 5. So negative log 5. Same thing. So we found the correct answer. All right, let's solve two more equations. This one, it may be tempting because it's log equals number to convert it to exponential right away, but I think there's actually going to be an easier thing to do. I'm going to rewrite that cubed root symbol. I'm going to rewrite that as the exponent 1/3. So x squared plus 48x to the third equals 2/3. And now I'm going to use my power rule of logarithms to take this and bring it down. And you'll see why I'm doing that in a second. So I'm writing that 1/3 as the coefficient of the log. And I'm doing that because now if you notice, if I multiply both sides of this by 3, those cancel. And those cancel. So I have no more fractions. That makes this easier to deal with. So I now just have log of x squared plus 48x equals 2. Now I think I'm going to convert this to exponential form. So it'd be 10 to the power of 2 equals the argument. And since this is a quadratic, I know I should set it to 0 to solve it. X squared plus 48x. Move the 10 squared over, so minus 100. And hey, once again, this is factorable. The numbers that multiply to negative 100 and add to 48 are 50 and negative 2, which means my answers are negative 50 and 2. Now I have to spend the time and check and make sure both of these answers actually work. One or both may be an extraneous root. Now to check if these are extraneous, we could compare it to the restrictions on this logarithmic function, but to figure out the restrictions on this is actually fairly complicated. That argument, to figure out when that is greater than 0, that'd be difficult to do. So instead of bothering about writing the restrictions, I'm just going to check, can I plug both of these into the original and does it work? So I'm going to write that logarithmic function here. Okay, so I've just programmed that logarithmic function into here. I can tell from the graph of this, the domain of this logarithmic function, x has to be bigger than 0 or less than negative 48, which both of those numbers meet the criteria. This one's less than negative 48 and this one's bigger than 0. So the function is defined in both of those spots. But let me just plug them into the function to show you that it will be able to generate an answer. And more specifically, that answer should be 2/3. So f at negative 50 should be 2/3, and it is. And f at 2 should be 2/3, and it is. So we have the correct two answers. Both of these are good. Last equation we're going to solve. This one, I have two variable terms, and they're both logarithmic functions. So I can combine those two by using my quotient. Oh, and I should mention, we're only allowed to use the quotient rule when two logs with the same base are being subtracted. The quotient rule tells me I could write those as a single log with that same base, with the arguments being divided. And now I could rewrite this in exponential form. 3 squared equals the argument And then I just have to solve this rational function. So I'll multiply both sides by x minus 4. So on the left, I have 9 times x minus 4. And on the right, I just have x. Expand the 9. So 9x minus 36 equals x. Move the variable terms to the left. I'd have 8x. And then constant term to the right equals 36. And then I'd have x equals 36 over 8. Which of course reduces. 4 goes into both of those numbers, goes into 36 9 times, into 8 twice. So 9 over 2, or 4.5. We have to check and make sure this answer is actually correct. There's a chance it's an extraneous root. I could write my restrictions for this one pretty easily, since both of those arguments aren't very complicated. I know the first logarithmic function is only defined if the argument is greater than 0, so that x has to be bigger than 0. And the second logarithmic function is only defined when x minus 4 is greater than 0, which means x has to be bigger than 4. So I only have to worry about my answers being both bigger than 0 and bigger than 4, which means I only have to worry about this one. As long as I get an answer that's bigger than 4, it's also bigger than 0. And this answer, 9 over 2, is 4.5. So that is bigger than 4. So this should be a correct answer as long as I've done all the algebra correctly. Let's take the time to plug it back in and make sure it works though. So log base 3 of 4.5 minus log base 3 of 4.5 minus 4. And when I evaluate this, it should make it equal to 2. And it does. All right, that's all the logarithmic equations we're going to solve. I just put a couple more questions in here just to give you some more practice with log rules. So it says, if log base a of b is 3, use log rules to find the value of this. Okay, since I know the value of log base a of b, I'm going to somehow try and create a log base a of b from this. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put brackets around this argument just to make it obvious that's the argument of this log. I'm going to split this into a sum of two logs. So this is using the product rule. So I could change this to log base a of a plus log base a of b squared. And since I want to try and create a log base a of b, I'm going to take this exponent and move it out front. So I now have log base a of a plus 2 log base a of b. And notice I can now evaluate this. Log base a of a, well, what exponent goes on a to get a? That's 1. And it tells me log base a of b is 3. That's my answer, 7. Let's try another one. We want to evaluate log base b of a, but all we know is that log base a of b equals 3. Let me just jot that down so we remember. We know that log base a of b equals 3. And I put a hint here. In order to do this one, we're going to need to use the change of base formula. Remember, if we have a logarithmic expression, I could write that as a quotient of two logs by writing log m over log b. And the quotient of those two logs, the base of those logs doesn't have to be 10. If I wanted to, I could make the base a of those two logs. That would be fine. And in fact, that's what I'm going to do, because that would allow me to then evaluate this expression. So I'm going to rewrite this as a quotient of two logs, where the base of those two logs is a. So I'd have log base a of a divided by log base a of b. And log base a of a is 1, log base a of b is 3. So there's my answer, a third. All right, that's it for that lesson. Make sure you try the practice questions.